Well, all right, people. So I was gonna make a video on this yesterday, but I figure I'd make it today because this shit is just really depressing. So it's about 2 in the morning here where I live in Detroit, and I've really been up all night, both yesterday and today, just really watching what's unfolding across our country, and it's sad. So I mean, I don't even think I have to really talk about this for long, but obviously the killing of George Floyd in Minnesota was terrible. I mean, pretty much everybody agrees that that was a horrible decision. So that right there should show you that there's solidarity with everybody in this country that acts of violence from the police against whether it's a white person, black person, whoever, wrong, terrible. And I'm glad that people, pretty much everybody agrees that that's wrong. However, these riots that are now going on in our country are a total disgrace. You got a bunch of thugs going around, and not only is that a disgrace, but some of the people who are on TV, who are on these so-called media organizations that are really saying, well, they're just angry because of systemic racism. I mean, I think these people are as much of the problem as the actual rioters out there on the streets today. I mean, this is, I'm flipping around to CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and you see some people saying, well, these rioters, it's just a result of systemic racism. It's really the white people's fault and every America's fault. No, it's people's fault that have been stoking this racism bullshit for the last 5, 10, 50 years in this country, in talking about this lie of systemic racism in this country. I mean, this is just sickening to turn on your television and see people burning down buildings, to see people burning police cars, to see people throwing bricks at police officers and assaulting people. And I mean, this is disgusting. And really everybody from politicians to really everybody in this country who has a conscience should be denouncing this, not beating around the bush saying, well, these people are just angry. No, this is wrong, and this should not be endorsed by anybody. This should not be remotely endorsed. This should be denounced. There should be no talk of anything else right now in this country besides how horrible these rioters are. And I don't care if they're white, if they're black, if they're liberal, if they're conservative. Rioting is wrong. And when it's on a wide scale like this, when it's widespread in pretty much every major city around the country right now, you need everybody to come out and denounce these people. But you have too many people saying, well, there's systemic racism stoking up these acts. Now, I'm a big believer in that if somebody goes out and does shit like this, that it's the individual's fault that does this, and that's right. I don't think this whole people incite violence, politicians incite violence. I really don't believe in that. But you have a lot of morons out on the street right now that are very impressionable, that don't think for themselves. And when they constantly hear this shit over and over again from people on the news channels, retards on Twitter, idiots on Facebook, losers on CNN and NBC, they're very impressionable and they believe it. They hear facts that are taken out of context. They don't understand that disparity does not equal racism, that disparities between races does not equal discrimination. And they go out on the streets and they start protesting, and they start rioting, and they start burning shit down. So I put the blame on the people that are actually on the streets right now burning shit down, but I also put a big blame on people who again are spreading this lie of police brutality against black people, spreading this lie that like LeBron James said a couple weeks ago, when you go out on the streets and go jogging, I didn't know a crime was jogging while black. I didn't know that was a crime. Shut the fuck up, you moron. Black people are way more likely to be killed by other black people than they are a white person or a cop. Just look at the stats. So here's what the media does. They take isolated incidents of white people doing something bad to a black person, and they portray it like that's happening every day in America. When in fact, what's happening every day in America is black people are killing other black people. So if you want to say Black Lives Matter, then you should focus on black people killing black people. Okay? and it's just disgusting to see this happening, and to see and then I hear, oh well, I hear MSNBC and CNN and all these news channels saying, well, there's a lot of peaceful protesters here. Okay, if I want to protest an issue, you know, and I know, like, if I go to any major city in the country right now, there's going to be a lot of violence. I mean, everybody knows that, right? So why would, even if I want to peacefully protest, I would not go to Detroit right now and protest. I would not go to Chicago right now and protest. I would not go to New York. Why? Because there's going to be violence there. Why would I want to go there? So yes, you do have a right to peacefully protest, but I am saying, if you're going to any of these major cities right now to protest police brutality against black people, you're a moron. I'm sorry, you are. Stay home. You have a right, but I think you're stupid to go right now. Probably better to just stay the fuck home. Somebody says, I think you should watch what you're saying. I agree that this is all fucking disgusting. These riots are animal, but you're saying it the wrong way. Well, there's really no other way to say it, I don't think. You just got to say what it is. These people are, um, these people right now in these cities are losers. They're rioters. They're thugs, and there needs to be some control put in place now. I am very glad to see that in Minnesota they started putting a lot more control in place. They brought in the National Guard, a lot more of them, which they should have done a long time ago. But thankfully they did it tonight, and that's really what they have to do in these cities. They have to stand up to these thugs, because if you don't, then you're going to see what happened last night in Minnesota, and what's happening right now across many cities, um, in America. And the people that are being affected by this now are innocent people, people who are business owners and getting their businesses burnt to the ground. I mean, what the fuck is the point of of this shit? I mean, again, if you want to peacefully protest, you can. Not somebody says all lives matter, not just black lives or white lives. I think we're just trying to fight racism with racism, and no one seems to understand that it's only making the country worse. Yeah, I mean, you always hear about systemic racism. That's a big thing we've been hearing. Oh, there's systemic, and people just throw that word around like it means, something. And yes, there's individual acts of racism in this country. There's no doubt about it. There's racism of all kinds. There's discrimination of all kinds in this country, and it's important to denounce that. But what happens is you get an individual thing of racism happening, and the media portrays it like it's widespread, like it's rampant. They don't portray the good in this country. They don't portray the 99% of people that are actually good and not racist in this country. They take the bad things and put on their television screens all the time, and then people are led to believe that black people are getting killed by white people and police every day in this country. How many times have you heard that over the past week? It's not true. Black people are killed way more by other black people than they are by white people, or than they are by cops. So that's just a fact. There's not a lot of black people that are unjustifiably killed by police officers every day or every year. I mean, in this country, it's a very few number. But whenever it happens, it's top story, on the media. But when a white person gets killed by the cops unjustifiably, nobody gives a shit. Why? It's because people love to back up their false notion that there's this widespread racism against black people in America. Love to really hype that up. So you got a lot of people now that are into the peaceful protesters again. There's no reason why this is a smart thing to do, to go protest in a big city right now where there's a bunch of losers, opportunistic losers, throwing bricks at people, throwing bricks at cops, looting businesses. Well, no one will watch a headline, white guy saves white guy from a fire. It's all for the money in the long run in terms of the news. People don't understand that. Yeah, I mean, again, you get a lot of people like with agendas that have preconceived notions and will just use confirmation bias to back up what they believe. And like this person is commenting there, news business, the news wants to make a profit, so there's a lot of fear mongering, a lot of pushing of false narratives out there, and it's just disgusting. to see this. And like I said, I'm just about as disgusted with the people in the media who are hyping up this shit as I am with the actual looters and the people burning buildings right now. Um, Again, I'm just seeing a lot of people saying, "Well, people are just angry, so these riots are basically justified." People like Van Jones on CNN. What a loser that guy is, Van Jones. I mean, that guy should be fired I was watching him on Chris Cuomo yesterday. I mean, it's just disgusting what some of these people are saying. Um, so I mean, these people aren't going to stop. So I mean, there has to be force taken against them. There has to be arrests made. You can't just keep letting people burn shit down. I mean, it's sad. This isn't what America should be. Um, you have a lot of losers right now, and that's what everybody should be calling them: losers, thugs, criminals that really need to be put in prison, need to be dealt with. There needs to be law and order in this country. You can't have a fucking every major city burning down. Um, Angry doesn't make a thing right. If a guy got bullied in school and goes back to the school to shoot it up, is it okay if he's mad? It's a terrible excuse. Yeah, I get angry a lot. I get angry at, I mean, everybody gets angry, but you can never use violence. That's one of the great things about this country. You have freedom of speech, freedom of protest, but you don't have the right to be violent against people, especially people that have nothing to do with the problem. You're hurting innocent people that actually want to protect society. Cops. Cops are great. They protect us. They protect society. And yes, there are some bad cops out there. Of course, there's bad everything out there. You pick any group, any demographic of people, whether it be doctors, whether it be cops, whether it be electricians. Every group of people has some bad people in it. Why? Because we don't live in a utopia. There's always going to be bad things that happen in our country. But the issue of it, well, is it systemic? No, it's not systemic. Most cops are good people who are trying to do good things in this country. And to hurt those people, to hurt innocent business owners is stupid. And the so-called Black Lives Matter or whatever the fuck you want to call these rioters, they're burning down cities that have a lot of black people living in them. And guess what happens when you burn down a Target or burn down a Kmart? I'm sure a lot of black people are employed there. So how is this helping black people? It's not helping anybody. It's hurting everybody. Is my point. Um, Racism. Somebody said racism is. I'm reading some of these comments here. Racism is a terrible thing, and no one argues that. If this was a peaceful protest, I would probably be out there with them. But this is a disgusting riot, and I want no part of it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, police brutality. I think it's a legitimate issue. But like, if I want to protest police brutality right now, I would not go to a major city because there's a lot of bad things happening right there right now. Right now. And there's better ways to handle it right now than to go join that riot that's happening in some of these major cities right now. Um, and again, if there's individual instances of racism, I think every American, for the most part, I mean, like I said, there's always bad people, but about 99% of Americans would agree that racism is bad. Um, but you know, but there's always this group of people that really stokes the racism. Yeah, somebody says I feel like these riots are pushed because when you look at a cop, not saying all cops are bad, they're supposed to protect us, and the way these people are getting killed by cops are ridiculous. Well, this is a result of the media always putting these videos on their media channels all the time. Whenever a person is killed by a cop, whether it be unjustifiable, you hear about it a lot. You don't hear about all the good things cops do. And like I said, yes, there are a lot of bad cops out there. I wouldn't even say a lot. There are bad cops out there. I think they're few and far between. But if you look at the number of unjustifiable cop killings every year, it's a very low number. And yes, there are bad actions that cops take, but you look at cops, they have millions of interactions with people, probably hundreds of millions, even maybe tens of millions. I don't know how many it is, but they have a lot of interactions with people. A lot of times they interact with criminals or maybe criminal and maybe innocent people. And you have very few instances of cops killing black people or anybody unjustifiably. Somebody says, from an outside perspective, this is just being done to justify a more militant and surveillance state in America, all part of a plan. I don't know about that. I don't know if this is like a conspiracy theory to, but you do need more of a militant force. That you do need more police in these cities right now. There's no doubt about it. You do need. I don't know if I would say the military, but you do need like at least a national guard to restore law and order. You need law and order right now. You have to take some pretty big measures right now to protect innocent people. um, and it doesn't have to be a permanent National Guard force, but you do need to take some extraordinary measures right now in some of these cities to restore law and order and protect innocent people. I don't think this is like promoting I don't think this is part of a plan to instill a police state. We've seen these riots before, but I just think it's a lot of morons, a lot of opportunists right now that are taking advantage of the situation to push a false narrative, and also to commit crimes, to loot. Yeah, because again, you hear this narrative that people are like deeply troubled. They're feeling angered by systemic racism. So I guess it's okay to go and loot a store. That's justification, according to some idiots on CNN and MSNBC. More comments here. I agree. Cop killing innocent people is a terrible thing, but killing and ruining lives because you want some free things is not justifiable. Yeah, I mean, this is my point. That's pretty much it. Like, how is burning down a Wendy's, people who have nothing to do with the situation, going to solve anything? How is that smart? It's so stupid, and it needs to be condemned by everybody. And there's people of all races out there in the streets. This isn't just a black thing. It's everybody. Like, everybody who riots is a bad person. And I condemn all forms of racism and all forms of people doing bad things. Whether it's the so-called, you hear about the alt-right, you hear about white supremacists, Nazis. Those are horrible people too, just like the people that are burning down cities right now and looting stores are horrible people. And it's sad to see innocent people's lives getting affected right now. It's sad to see all the businesses. What do you think these people think of that? A lot of these probably are either black owned businesses, or a lot of black people work there. Great. You just put them out of a job. Good job. America died a long time ago. It's being subverted. No, I disagree with that. I think America is a great country. A lot of great things about it. Again, it's not perfect. There's bad things that happen here. There's never a country that's perfect. But I think if you look at America as a whole, if we look at the prosperity that we still have, you know, even black people enjoy a lot better prosperity here than really any other country in the world. I mean, go to Africa, look at how black people are faring in Africa. Probably not too good. So even though this country does have its problems, hence you see all the riots going on, I would like to think that most Americans are against these riots, or against looting, and at the end of the day, we'll come out on top. I mean, we've gone through a lot of bad things, even in the last 5 or 10 years, but we always seem to come out on top. So I just hope that these, today it seemed like um, a little better than yesterday, especially in Minnesota. Still a lot of bad things happening. It's just it's very depressing though um, to see this happening. But I really think we got to get going here and enforce the law. We need law and order. We can't just sit back and watch these people burn down our cities. We have to get cops in there. We have to get National Guard in there. We have to get everybody we can into these cities to protect innocent people, to protect law-abiding citizens, and to restore order like they did in Minnesota tonight. I mean, it's disgusting seeing buildings on fire. How is that solving anything? That's just hurting people. Yesterday, somebody died. A police officer or some security person died. Great job. Great fucking job, you idiots. So I think I'll leave it there for tonight unless anybody has any other comments. Maybe I'll do a video on this tomorrow, but it's just it's very depressing watching the news and seeing this happening and and seeing so many prominent people in America not really even say anything about this and just say, well, police brutality is a problem. There's systemic racism in this country. And just really ignore the riots that are destroying our country right now. And by the way, that are hurting many black people. These riots are hurting many black people. Many black businesses are being burned down. Many people that live in these communities that are being burned down are black. So if you really care about black people, you would be denouncing these riots that are affecting black people, probably disproportionately too. Because if you look at these cities, 13% of people that live in this country are black. But if you look at the cities that are being burned down right now, they probably have a higher population of black people than 13% because black people tend to live in inner cities. That's just a stat. Um, so these riots, burning down black cities, probably is affecting black people, more than it is white people, which is sad. It's sad. And it's just depressing. I don't think I've ever seen anything, even like the Ferguson thing. I mean, I think this was worse than that. I mean, maybe it's not because this is fresh in my mind, but it just seems like I've never seen anything like this in America. And we need law and order. That's what we need. We can't let thugs take over our cities. We need to arrest them. And I'm sorry, but if a couple people die, I mean, I don't want fucking cops shooting into groups of people, obviously, but I mean, we have to protect our cities, we have to protect our cops, and we have to protect the innocent people. We can't let people burn down cities. And if a couple thugs die because they were burning shit down or they were trying to injure or kill a police officer or they were looting a store, then it is what it is. But we need law and order in this country right now, and we need it quickly. We can't stand by and let our cities be burnt to the ground like this. It's real depressing, and we need measures, extraordinary measures, to be taken to protect people. I mean, this is getting out of hand, and we need to send a message to the thugs that they are not going to be able to do this. That there's going to be a lot of police officers and National Guard and whoever on the streets to protect innocent people and to stop these people from doing what they're doing and to put them in jail for a long fucking time. You cannot just put people in jail for the night and let them be bailed out. You have to put people in jail for a long fucking time to send a message that this shit is not going to happen. And if a couple people get killed in the process, you know, it is what it is. But I'm not going to feel bad if some thug gets shot by a cop because they were looting a store, because they threw a brick at a cop, or because they were breaking the law and putting other people's lives in danger. Like I said, if you're a peaceful protester right now and you really want to protest police brutality or protest an issue, probably best you stay away from a big city for a while. Right now, like, why would you even go there? There's going to be violence. There's going to be bad people there. Why would you go there? Report of cop shot in critical condition. Yeah, I heard about a guy who was beat up a few hours ago trying to defend his business. A cop shot last night, or some security. I don't know. They didn't say it was a cop. They said it was like a security person shot. Person killed in Detroit yesterday. This is terrible. I mean, and like I was saying, if you're a peaceful protester, go home. Don't protest tonight. Probably not the best idea. Like, there's a lot of issues I'm passionate about, but if I wanted to go and protest at a rally, and I knew that there's a high probability of there being bad people at that rally, a high probability of there of being people that are going to commit crimes, commit violence, I would not go to that rally. So if you're a peaceful protester, why are you going to rallies where you know there's going to be a high likelihood of crimes being committed by people at that rally? Don't go. Don't be a moron. Stay the fuck home. And like I said earlier in this video, the issue that you are protesting is not as bad of an issue as you think it is. It's just the media hypes it up like it is, and you're too stupid to look at the actual fact of the matter and get the facts on the issue of police brutality. You know, people take isolated incidents and they use them as anecdotal evidence to try to prove a point. No, you have to look at the entire issue. You have to look at all the stats. Somebody, back to the comments here. I've actually seen some videos of cops attacking peaceful protests, which may be causing riots. Well, what they're doing is instituting curfews and not letting people burn down the city. Like, there's a lot of curfews in place in major cities. So you have a lot of cops shooting tear gas into protests to try to break them up and to um, try to enforce the curfew. So these cities aren't like Minnesota had a curfew tonight, and police officers shot tear gas into groups of people that were not abiding by the curfew, and it did a lot of good because the city was not burned down like it was last night. Um, so there's the if you're protesting past curfew, that's not a lawful protest, and cops have a right to break that up. Like I was saying, these are extraordinary times, so I think that law enforcement has to take extraordinary measures right now to protect innocent people and um, to protect businesses, to protect people that have nothing to do with this and are innocent. Um, so yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of gatherings right now that are being broken up, but there's a curfew in place to protect people. Somebody says praying for USA from India. Shame on the thugs and rioters. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I have hope that America will pull through this. I think we'll be okay. But it's just while this is happening, it's really depressing, and it's really sad that really all cops right now are being demonized and being lumped into this. I can't tell you how many times I've seen signs and graffiti that just say fuck the police. The police are what you know the police are what enforces the laws in this country and keeps America together. I mean, like I said, obviously there's some bad apples out there. There's bad police, just like there's bad everything in this country. It's not a perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect country. You're always going to have bad people. I mean, you have what, like a million police officers in America, 800,000, something like that. You're going to have bad police officers. You're going to have bad everything in this country. You're going to have bad white people. You're going to have bad black people. You're going to have racist whites, racist blacks, racist Indians, anti-Semites. Just a fact of the matter when you have a country of 330 million people. But just because there's one bad action from somebody does not represent the whole picture. Just because there is one white person that killed a black person, um, unjustifiably, one cop killed this black guy, does not mean you go out and say that black people are being hunted down or that there's some genocide against black people in this country. That is very irresponsible to say. It's one incidence of this happening, and it's a shame that it's being portrayed as a widespread problem when in reality it's not. It's just not if you look at the stats. So I think I'll leave it there. I might do a video on this tomorrow because it's just so frustrating to me and depressing to me as an American citizen that loves his country and thinks it's a really great country. It's depressing seeing so many people commit these horrible acts and so many prominent people in our society stand by. And I saw Steve Carell that said he was going to post bail for these protesters. And I saw a couple other celebrities that said they were going to post bail for these not even protesters, for these rioters that were jailed. I got two words for you people who are going to do that. Fuck you. You need to be condemning these rioters, not bailing them out of jail. So that's all I gotta say about that, people. I'll probably do a video on this tomorrow, maybe, but all I can say is hopefully this starts calming down a little bit. Hopefully we've reached the peak of this, and hopefully there's some law and order in these cities because they definitely need it. So there you go, people.